to quickly take you through what Explore the Digital Future is. So Microsoft's mission is to empower every person on the planet to achieve more. And that empowerment, we believe that it can change the world for the better. And our ETDF Digital Skills Program is dedicated to transforming the tech industry by driving ethical values based on trust and inclusion. And we want to make sure that the tech industry of tomorrow is inclusive, welcoming, and built by us together for us. And our ambition is to reach 10,000 young people annually. And our program aims to prepare these young people with skills for the technology-driven world of tomorrow, and demonstrate how diversity helps build better technology and how it can be used as a force of positive change. So we want every young person that takes part into our ETDF program to have the opportunity to build their practical digital skills and understand the values of Microsoft and recognize the benefits of building this diverse industry. And we want them to feel inspired to work in the tech industry because of the positive impact that they can make, and debunk all of these myths that sometimes you can hear around working in tech and working at big tech companies. And lastly, we want them to have the opportunity to become certified in digital and technology skills that can then increase their future employability. So this is just a snapshot of a slide, including all the modules that ETDF delivers. So we've got everything from discovering the future of tech to discovering accessibility, diversity, and inclusivity. And we also look at discovering technology in business and today's tech. So we go everywhere from exploring coding to IoT to looking at AI and big data. And technology in business is one of the modules that we are currently working on to release. And jumping on to the intros and how we got here at Microsoft in the first place. So I've just put together a slide that sort of entails my journey into tech and what I've done previously. So back at university, I was a staff and student committee chair. So essentially my job role was to take the feedback from the students on my course back to senior lecturers in order to improve our program as much as possible. And then whilst I was at university, I was also working part-time at Clark's. I had been with the company for a total of almost 4 years, and I worked at 2 different locations. And before joining Microsoft, in April of last year, I also completed a spring internship at an investment bank in their global markets division, which was a really amazing experience. But that also sort of taught me that that was not necessarily the path that I wanted to go down. And then following my finance internship, I took my first step into tech, and I joined the EMEA Career Upskilling and Bold Mentorship Program with Google, and that sort of gave me a taste of what the technology industry is like. So I was really excited to be joining Microsoft just a few months afterwards. And in terms of my personal story and where I come from, I was actually born in Bucharest, and I moved to Milan in Italy when I was around 7 years old, and I lived there until I was 17. And following that, I moved to the UK and lived in a few different locations. As mentioned before, I am currently at university and I'm doing my placement year. So I'm in my 3rd year and I'm due to go into my final year in September. So at Microsoft, I have had so many learning experiences, and I came in with little to no technology background. So I was really scared at the beginning that I was just not going to fit in. And there was a lot to learn in the first few months, but there's a lot of things that I have sort of taken from those months in my internship, and I've understood that really they're not looking for you to be super technical or with a load of expertise in the industry already, but they just want you to fit into the company's culture and values. And as long as you're able to work with the people in your team, and you can show that you are curious and willing to learn, you will do absolutely fine. And there was a huge learning curve for me, and I've learned how important it is for myself to make connections within the company, within my team, and building that network of support with both my peers, so other interns, and other early in careers, as well as getting mentors. Um, so that's been absolutely amazing, and a few personal lessons as well. Protecting my time during my internship, and making sure that I'm choosing the right projects that are helping me in developing my career and the path that I want to go down on. So I guess my main takeaway from this is to not be discouraged in applying to companies like Microsoft, because it really doesn't matter what your background is, because they will look at you how as in how you are as a person, and how you fit in within the culture. And as long as you match, then that will be more than enough. And I think one thing that I really value about working at Microsoft is the growth mindset. So you have the space to learn and grow in your own time, with all of the support from your team and everyone else that's sort of in your circle. But yeah, I guess those were my main takeaways. But I'm more than happy to answer any questions that come through in the comments. But with that, I'll just hand over to Esther, who can take us through her experience within Microsoft.
Thanks, Roxy. So, hi everyone. As I mentioned earlier, I'm Esther. Also an intern at Microsoft. Me and Roxy started within the same cohort, but we are in different roles. Roxy works in modern work, but I'm in Azure infrastructure, so I do more with the cloud computing side of things. Before coming to Microsoft, I study mechanical engineering, so it's quite different from my current role. I think the engineer part may mislead people because it misled me, and that's why I applied thinking it was a completely different role. But I've managed to learn while I've been here. So before I came, most of my experiences were to do with mechanical engineering, as that's what I thought I wanted to do after uni. So I underwent a shadow placement at a company in Milton Keynes called Intrinsis. I think they've recently changed their name to Technia, but that was just for about 2 weeks, and I got to shadow different type of engineers. So I got to go to like manager meetings, but also got to shadow like CAD engineers as well and see what they do, as that's what I wanted to do, CAD mechanical design. Before then, I think this was about year 12 that I did this. When I was 17, I undergone the industrial cadet training, so I got a formal certificate from this, and this was from a business in Coventry. So this was for about a month, I believe. So there was a few like requirements I had to do. I had to complete a few hours of training, a few tasks, and I had to design something that was in the end 3D printed, and I made a mechanical dolphin, I think they called it, but it was quite cool. Got to design it on CAD. I then went and upskilled it, so I put a tube in like through it so that I could spray water and things like that. If I had it, I would show you, but unfortunately it isn't here. Then before that and during all of this, I worked at Northampton General Hospital as a ward hostess. This is totally unrelated, but I think this is where I started to get my people skills. At school, you don't really get this, and when I was young, I wanted to just make money like most kids do these days. So I worked at the NHS for like 4 years. Originally, I'm from Nigeria. That's where I was born, but I moved to the UK in 2004. So I was quite young, but fortunately, my family is still very Nigerian. They would not let me forget the language, so I still speak Yoruba when I call my mom, it's Yoruba. She doesn't call me Esther. She calls me by my Nigerian name. So, and then also, I've got one more year left at uni before I graduate and officially get my Bachelor of Engineering degree. Now at Microsoft, I've really had to learn and change because I think the shock was when I came into cloud computing, I was just thinking, what is this? Like, why did I not do more research? I was like, I don't know how to do tech. I'm like the least technical person you could ever meet. I don't know anything past maths and physics, and tech is completely different to that. But I have to say, it has been so good learning. And I mean, coming from literally rock bottom, I had no clue what Azure was. And since starting, I've had to upskill myself. So I've done like the Azure Fundamentals exam. I liked AI just because I enjoyed things like CAD anyway. So it was always something I was interested in. So I did the AI fundamentals. Then earlier this year, I also passed the Azure Administrators exam, which is really cool. So I'd say literally within the space of 7, 8 months, I managed to go from absolutely no knowledge to having a associate level knowledge. So I've managed to catch up to a few people in my team, which I'm so happy about. And I think it just proves that you don't need a technical background to learn. Like I can show you here, I knew nothing. And also while being here, because I had to prioritize so much time with learning, it meant I couldn't actually do my role properly. So I've had a lot of time to participate in lots of cultural parts of Microsoft. So I joined the Women's ERG where we host different events and create a space where it's safe for women to talk and feel confident to speak up and lift their voices. So you can see a few pictures there where I've attended some meet and greet situations, some networking events. I also attended BET with the education team in the top left corner with a few other interns. There's also a program that we run called DigiGirls, which is about teaching coding to young girls or like introducing them into tech. And actually ran a demo on Make Code Arcade, which is a Microsoft software that allows you to learn how to code. It starts from blocks, so you can learn things like Java and Python as well in a really and simple ways. And I'm also the social and intern of the interns. So I've run a lot of events. There's also pizza day there. And this is just really about bringing everyone together, boosting morale within the cohort, making sure everyone feels comfortable to communicate with one another. You can find that when people are in different roles, you may not get to work together as much as you want, but I try my best. And at the bottom, you can see a bit of my life. I enjoy traveling as well. I was in Budapest, going out with my friends. There's a concert of Wizkid and cooking. I bake cakes as well. And I also enjoy like just my culture. So that's my brother's wedding at the bottom. So that's his beautiful bride, my sister-in-law, celebrating her big day. But hopefully that's given you a little insight about me.